Jesus, I have to get the stream day working. I really do. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's entertainment news. I say this Tuesday's entertainment news, this week's first entertainment news, and I believe the first entertainment news since I last done an entertainment news last Tuesday. We usually do it 3 days a week, pre-recorded on a Wednesday. We've been slacking though, but look, I'm here now, and that's what we're going to focus on, the present, and speak on the latest entertainment news, all of the happenings in music, gaming, film, anything that I feel compelled, and sometimes Stephen, when he's with me, feels compelled to break down, discuss, have a little chinwag about. And if you have clicked on the thumbnail today, you will know what the headline is. First and foremost, I'll be discussing the likes of Dead by Daylight today. Mark Ruffalo out panty-wetting over James Gunn in the DCU. But the headline is about this here. John Wick Chapter 4. Now it seems like every single movie news, entertainment news, the movie section of entertainment news that I have did or have been a part of in the last month or so has involved a headline where we discuss reactions or reviews for an upcoming release. It seems every single fucking video, it's the same thing. And the reason for that, quite frankly, is because it's easy. You just get to read, and it's very, very easy. So that's why I'm here discussing John Wick Chapter 4. Now, I'm a huge fan of John Wick, first and foremost. Been to see all of the films in the theatres. Loved every single one. For me, it's get better and better and better. Having said that, I'm going to contradict myself. It has got more complex, and there's something that is likeable about the sheer simplicity of the first movie. It's just a man who's lost his dog that was very dear to him. His wife bought him it, his dead wife. The dog was taken from him in the cruelest of manners. This was a man trying to get out of the game, and he's brought back into the game, and he unleashes sheer vengeance upon those Ruskies in that movie. Obviously Alfie Allen, who's not a Rusky, but playing the son of a Rusky, a Russian, just in case that's offensive. I never know these days what isn't or is offensive. Loved that first movie though, the simplicity, but I do enjoy the way that they have been just gradually expanding out the universe, the mythos, world building, all of the different colourful assassin characters, all of the different colourful locales we've went to, the likes of, I think, Madagascar or Casablanca. I can't remember where they went in Chapter 3 with those dogs, those Belgian dogs. But it was a good location. Of course, we had your man who played, what was it, Bronn or something, in the Game of Thrones series, and he's in the Yellowstone spin-off with Helen Mirren. I always forget his name. He was in that. He got his balls, I think, ripped from him, or at least molligated by said dogs. And I've really enjoyed the way they've been expanding this universe out, slowly but surely adding complexity on, with a very simple man at the centre of it. In the midst of all of the chaos, in the eye of the hurricane, we have one Keanu Reeves, John Wick, just killing people in the most ingenious manner possible. And look, that's really just the backstory of where I'm at with this. I love this this franchise. I was about to say trilogy, because it is a trilogy just now. Chapter 4 is not yet out. The premiere did happen, a day ago or 2 days ago. Just a backstory of where I am. I love this franchise. I yearn for more. There was a conversation yesterday about this, and the question was basically, why do they continue making these movies? And I says, quite frankly, because people want them. And as long as people want the movies, and they're going to the theatres and supporting the movies, we're going to keep getting these movies. And that's what Keanu has said time and time and time again. Him and Chad Stahelski have been singing from the same hymn sheet. They have been preaching this mantra of, if the fans want it, we'll keep making them. And I do want it. And this is music to my ears. Early reactions praising biggest and best Keanu Reeves sequel yet. Now again, I say this every time that I read these reactions from these lucky select few who have been to the premieres, who have been to early screeners to see the movie, and are giving their opinion in little snippets before the embargo lifts and they can share their full thoughts, warts and all. You must take it with a pinch of salt. These people are privileged. These people are being invited to the premieres. They have been given early access. They have been bestowing rights that very few people outside of a very small sphere of journalists, of film critiques, are given, bestowing. And with that comes just subconscious bias at times to maybe lay on thick when they are praising the movie. Incidentally, I sound as though I've got a horrendous cold. I'm actually getting better, but it seems to be lingering in the nose, so I do sound like Kermit the fucking Frog. Some might say that I always sound like Kermit the Frog, but it's on steroids. There is a football journalist, speaking about journalists over here, who goes by the name of Hugh Keevans. The man is an absolute gimp. I sound like him tonight. There's nothing I can do about it. There will be a lot of... I'll do my best to limit it. But look, we're going to get right into it. The reactions. Caitlin Tyrell. This is Tyrell. This is a very tame name for people who get to see movies early for critiques. As you go through this list, you'll see the usual suspects, and they always have the most weird and wondrous names. They just simply have to be stage names. I have never once seen one Ali Plum in here of Radio 1 fame, BBC fame. He's the film critique for that radio station, the biggest radio station in the United Kingdom. He doesn't seem to do written critiquing or reviews. He's never in there, but that's an example. Even the radio personas that break down films have the most fucked up names. Caitlin Tyrell, though, a very humble, ordinary name. This is what she had to say. Chaz to hell, she brings it to the next level with John Wick Chapter 4, little exclamation mark, just to hammer home that he's really brought it to the next level. I trust her, though. More importantly, I trust Chaz Stahelski. This man is a wonder at really giving us brilliant action stories, action movies, experiences that are just synonymous with destroying a large bag of popcorn in a comfy theatre experience. No one does it better. Nobody does it better than Chad. She goes on to say, mind-blowing action sequences and the fantastic world building continues. Everything that I mentioned is here. Keanu kills it, but Donnie Yen is the scene stealer, and this is really where they up the game with these movies time and again. They're bringing in weird and wondrous new characters played by utterly brilliant actors and sort of martial artists in their own right, and Donnie Yen, none more so than Donnie, a man infamous for his work on Ip Man, obviously a sequel to Bruce Lee. I think he was Bruce Lee's master. Phenomenal actor, brilliant martial artist in his own right. You bring a man like that into this sandbox where he's going up against the more conventional gun-touting John Wick, who can handle himself in a sort of arm-to-arm combat as well. It's just, you just know, as soon as he's cast, you've got something special. Nice to see the first reviewer reaction here, if you'd like, confirming that he is indeed the scene stealer. And I'm sure Keanu's a humble enough man, and he is humble, perhaps the most humble man in all of Hollywood. He will be humble enough to admit when you bring a man like that and you're going to get shown up, and that's just fine. He's got the name of the movie named after him, after all. This is what I'm talking about. Second reviewer, Joseph Deckelmeyer. Now, he may just be fucking German or Austrian or Hungarian, but what a fucking name, Deckelmeyer. It's almost too good to be true. This is what I had to say. Hashtag John Wick Chapter 4 is an intense, throughout the entire film, is an intense. I feel like there's a word missing there. An intense journey, an intense ride, an intense experience. He's admitted it though, but it's Twitter, so we'll let him away with it. Throughout the entire film, Kane, aka Donnie Yen, steals every scene he's in, as he should. And as expected, the action in this film is next level. The film definitely left me wanting more. Lastly, there's a post-credit scene I recommend staying for. Now, I'm glad you said that, my friend, because I will be going to see this in the theatres. And now that I know there is a post-credit scene, I will be watching that scene. Again, similar themes. They are praising it. They're saying it's intense. They're saying it's expanding upon the sort of exponential journey we have been seeing with this franchise to date. The world building, just adding complex sort of detail to the characters, to the sort of mythos, to the criminal underworld which it's set in. But also Donnie Yen's getting praised, and that excites me and makes me very, very happy. Eric Eisenberg. Eric had this to say. That's a pretty tame name as well, to be fair. That's pretty ordinary. Eric and Eisenberg. I have reservations about John Wick Chapter 4's nearly 3-hour runtime. That is a bit long for an action movie, but you know what? As he says, the movie earns it. And this franchise has earned it. It's been pretty taut to date. The experiences we've had, pretty short, sweet, succinct, whatever adjective you want to use, phrase you want to use. I think Chad and Keanu have earned the right to have another 40 minutes on the running time. And I'm absolutely certain, based off what we've seen before, they will make it worthwhile. It will be chock-a-block with action, with kills, with all sorts of world building. Just fucking looking forward to it. Immersing myself in this world, I can't wait. It's an epic with smart pacing. It never lets the action feel exhausting, and the set pieces are phenomenal. Great cast of series newcomers, but Donnie Yen is the MVP. Another reaction praising Messrs Donnie Yen. And again, it doesn't surprise me for all of the aforementioned reasons that I says 5 minutes ago. When you cast Donnie Yen with all of his prowess in martial arts, his prowess in sort of stunt work, his prowess as an actor, and you put him in this domain where he can unleash it all like a fucking frantic toddler unleashing hell upon fellow nursery kids at an actual sandbox, you know you're going to get magic happening. That kid will get a cookie and milk. Donnie will get paid handsomely and wow us in the theatres. That's enough with shite analogies, incidentally. That will be the last. Aaron Newerth. Again, it's a pretty tame name, but it's still a bit wacky. There's some wackiness in there. Newerth, I've not met a Newerth in all of my time. I've met many Wilsons, many Thompsons, many Campbells, but not a Newerth. But I've seen him now, and it's firmly in the sort of memory bank. But we're not here for Newerth and his name, we're here for his thoughts on John Wick Chapter 4. And this is what I had to say. It's incredible. A symphony of controlled and carefully choreographed violence. Every shot in this movie is interesting. The cast is great, the action is beyond impressive, and with such a long running time it never feels as though I want less of what's taking place. That is the key. You can speak about a franchise, about the filmmaker, the actor, earning the right to have an extra 40, 50 minutes, whatever it is, of running time, but ultimately when it gets to it, it's not about earning the running time, it's about having it as a necessity. You don't just make a movie that's 3 hours long for the sake of making a movie that's 3 hours long. First of all, anyone with a pair of eyes in their head will see through it. It will be transparently obvious that they've just went with that extra hour, just, I don't know, for masturbatory reasons. Just to fucking appease their sort of inner child and make something that they want to happen. But, you know, if a studio was interfering and it was the first movie in a franchise, they would be told to cut it out. If it's for that, then you don't do the 3 hour running time. But if you have an actual reason as to why a movie deserves to have an extra 40 minutes of running time, if it's a script that is so beautiful in its construct that you simply cannot cut any more out, and the final fucking sort of running time is the 3 hour mark or round about, then I'm hunky-dory. That's absolutely hunky-dory. I'm fine with that. Nothing wrong with that. Chaz Stahelski, as I say, earned it. Keanu Reeves earned it. Nice to see though that it's flowing well. It was just clicked on Twitter. Wondrous. Nice to see it's flowing well. That's the key. I have watched movies that are 3 hours long and they have felt like 5 hours long. I have also watched movies that are 3 hours long and they have felt like they are 2 hours long. This, to me, even with that pinch of salt that I keep speaking about, that sort of, that salt guy, he was an embarrassment at the World Cup final, incidentally, at the end of last year. Total embarrassment. Didn't even realise he was Argentinian. I thought he was French. Salt Guy, or whatever his name is. When you've got a movie like this, even with the sort of pinch of salt, you can trust them on that. With the action, with the kills, with the pacing, you will not feel the extra 40 odd minutes of running time. So I trust them. Ian Sandwell, this is a very beige name. This is like a sort of Cornwall, Middle England name. Could even pop up in the central belt of Scotland. I want to bet at least 2 dozen Ian Sandwells within a 10 mile square radius of where I'm at just now. So that's quite disappointing, but we're going to go down and see if we've got any other names here. These are all quite beige. Scott Mendelson, I trust Scott. I'll go down to him after this. I'm going to cut a few out. But I started with Ian and I did a little monologue on his name, needless though it was, so I'm going to read his thoughts on John Wick. Chapter 4. I'm medicated. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm on the Lemsips. You must bear with me. The paracetamol is coursing through my veins. There will be some slips. I did it last night during the watch along of Farsi episode 8. I think it cut out. But my brain simply could not comprehend the concept of being through thick and thin. And even now I can't really comprehend it. They've been with each other through thick and thin is what I meant to say. I just couldn't grasp it. And I still can't grasp it, so it's the Lemsips, that's a sort of common thread there. So bear with me is what I'm saying. There will be fuck-ups galore in this. Ian Sandwell, he says it's absolutely huge. Huge. Yes, it's long, but it's outrageously good set pieces, more than make up for it. A slick, brutal and stylish action. Epic. It sees Keanu Reeves push himself further than before, and with moments that will have fans talking. That's the bare minimum you expect from a John Wick movie, to be fair. I actually forgot that your man, Bill Skarsgård, was in there too. He's playing a big bad. I remember watching the trailer, so I should really have remembered that, but yeah. So many, just look at the images, it just looks fucking great. It really does. It looks phenomenal. There's something about this franchise. The vibes, the tone, the colour palette, the action, the sort of mysterious, simplistic, titular lead. It just works, and it works again and again and again and again. Jeff Ewing says he loved John Wick 4. There are some truly jaw-dropping scenes, and you'll never look at stairs the same way again. This is what I want to fucking hear. As someone who watched Atomic Blonde and thought the same thing, I will never look at a flight of stairs winding up some nondescript building ever again. This is what I want to hear. I want to see Chad Stahelski channeling his inner David Leitch and giving us an action set piece, preferably a one shot on a staircase with John Wick. If that's what we're getting, and it's not just some gruesome fucking karate chop and the guy falls down the stairs and breaks his neck and becomes, I don't know, Christopher Reeve. I'm here for it. I'm ready for a stair sequence that involves action aplenty. He's on to say Donnie Yen is exceptional. One of the best action movies of the last decade. Easy. Fucking hell, that's high praise indeed. In a decade that has had some brilliant action movies. Mission Impossible, Fallout, Mission Impossible, all the Mission Impossible movies of the last 10 years, really. Some John Wick movies in there. There's been some really, really, really high quality action movies. I have to say that I really enjoyed the Predator one, the prequel, Prey. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a brilliant top little action movie. One of the best I've seen. Certainly comfortably the second best Predator movie of all time. And one of the best action movies I've seen in years. So that's high praise indeed. That tells you what you're dealing with here. And it just confirms once again that Chad Stahelski is a fucking master at his craft at making action. And Keanu Reeves, why he is the perfect man to lead this franchise, because you can just see the dedication the man brings to the role, the blood, sweat and tears that he imbues into the character, the training with the guns, the training with the martial arts stuff, the training in general. Everything is tight. It's like a James Brown band from the 1960s. They don't miss a fucking beat. This man's the heartbeat of these movies, and it works. It just works, man. Scott Mendelsohn, he may be the last guy that I read. We might read Vanessa Armstrong because she's the last sort of reaction on the page. But certainly Scott Mendelsohn, he's a renowned critique, so I'm going to read his thoughts on it. I trust this man. He had this to say: at least from a technical point of view, one of the greatest Hollywood action movies ever made. That is stunning praise. That is high praise indeed, Scott. Wow. It's visually gorgeous, with stunningly complicated and creative set pieces. I honestly don't know how they safely did some of these scenes. It's a towering artistic achievement. Wow. If I wasn't pumped for going to see this movie in the theatres already, and believe me I am, I've been counting down the fucking months and the weeks for this movie. As I says, I've been to see every one in the theatres before. I'm certainly fucking pumped for it now, man. It's a towering artistic achievement. One of the greatest Hollywood action movies ever made. It's got Donnie Yen in there, it's got Keanu Reeves in there, it's got a fucking sublime actor Bill Skarsgård playing the villain in there. all of the pieces are falling into place. It's like a jigsaw puzzle just coming together. Really, really looking forward to this movie, man. And look at that poster. This guy just suits the beard. He really does. I can't visualise this guy without a beard now. I seen it with Bill and Ted, and it was wrong. And who would have said that 20 years ago, when he was playing Neo in The Matrix? I love this guy. I love how humble he is. He's such a modest, brilliant human being off the camera. And I wish him nothing but success. Vanessa Armstrong had this to say. This is the last one. John Wick is the best movie I've seen in ages. It's like a Greek epic, that's yes. Full of unparalleled action and guns. And the set pieces are phenomenal, but it's also about relationships and love. What a breathtaking, heart-rending story. I can't wait to see it again. All in all, high praise indeed for this movie. And again, you can be a cynical person like I am all the time and say, just like I says with the Ant-Man Quantumania reactions where they says it's Star Wars meets Marvel, it's fucking amazing, it's wondrous, what a movie. And then the reviews come out, and then the Rotten Tomato score plummets, and then you're getting mixed responses from the actual general audience. And all in all, it seems like a slightly average experience, not the sort of wondrous Star Wars space opera meets Marvel experience the reactioneers were saying, the reaction people were saying. You can be cynical and say, these are the same people who went to see John Wick Chapter 4, these are the same people who are singing from the same hymn sheet, praising it, creaming their pants over it. You can be cynical and take that viewpoint, but with this, I feel this is different. First and foremost, it's not on the scale of Marvel. It's not. I can't imagine they've got the same money to perhaps bribe people like perhaps Disney may or may not do. I don't think they do. I'm just speaking in sort of hypothetical terms. It's not the same because this is a sort of simplistic action franchise that is grown in its scale, it's grown in its grandiosity, grown in the world building with this guy in the centre of it all, Keanu Reeves. And I believe in Chad Stahelski as a director, I believe in Keanu Reeves as John Wick. It feels to me like he has found a home from home with this character. And I feel with these two guys at the helm, pushing this franchise into uncharted waters, that things will only get better and better and better and better and better because there's real passion there. The passion the fan base have for these movies is replicated with the two people who are involved primarily in its creative sort of creation. So I do believe these reactions. I believe this is a very, very good movie. I've seen it from the trailers, and I just simply cannot wait without repeating myself to get into a theatre and experience it for myself, man. 3 hours, big bag of popcorn, watching Keanu Reeves kill giants with books. What more do you want in life? That's what you go to the theatres to go and see films for. That's it. It's blissful escapism away from the ills of the world. God bless Keanu fucking Reeves. I'm moving on, man, to the next topic. Speaking about Marvel, Mark Ruffalo's been out and he's speaking about creaming your pants. He's been wetting his pants, his panties, about James Gunn and why Marvel Studios should be sweating over James Gunn's DCU plans. And I'm going to read the man's thoughts. It's very short and sweet. This topic will be short and sweet. I don't think I'll be spending a half an hour on this one like I did with the reactions of John Wick. I didn't even spend a half an hour. That's bullshit. It was about 20 minutes. But yeah, he's been out speaking. Yeah, it's coming in from MovieWeb. One of the worst photoshops I've ever seen, incidentally. If that's Anthony Lund who's did that, then fuck me, mate, step up your game. I could do that in 2 minutes. And I will sort of... I'm going to go in hard on this guy here. That's totally unacceptable. You can do better with the cut out of the hair as well, mate. Fucking eraser. 50% transparency, soft brush. Take it out, mate. That's totally unacceptable. Get your shit together. You're getting fucking paid for this. I think. Do better. Wee water, my friend. I don't know where that came from. Mark Ruffalo had this to say about James Gunn, the hiring of him as the sort of Kevin Feige over at Warner Brothers with your other man, whose name I am blanking on, and I always blank on his name. But there's a sort of duality over there. There's two guys in control of all things DCU. But this is what I'd say, doesn't matter. I would say hire James Gunn. What's this in context of? What is this? I'm just going to read this little snippet. However, while appearing at Emerald City Comic Con, Ruffalo was asked about Marvel's comic book rival and what kind of advice he would give DC Studios. In response, Ruffalo took the moment to acknowledge that Gunn could cause some problems for the MCU in the future. Well, he isn't going to cause problems for the MCU. He's going to make magic and potentially very, very good things happen for DC and Warner Brothers. What DC do with their movies and what the MCU do with their movies, they aren't linked. They're two separate entities, giving us two separate worlds with very interesting characters, be it villainous characters or heroic characters. They are existing in different planes. They do not interconnect. One shouldn't really have an impact, an influence on the other. I understand if you're releasing them within weeks of each other in the theatres, they are going to impact and cannibalise on each other's box office, and you could get into a versus who's won the box office between DC and Marvel. But realistically, James Gunn isn't going to hurt Marvel, and Marvel aren't going to hurt James Gunn. They're doing different things, and I'll get into it. I'll get into it more. That's what I had to say. I would say hire James Gunn, because nobody does it better, and Marvel should be sweating because James Gunn is a really gifted filmmaker, and I think he's going to be amazing for that franchise. Well, look, I don't disagree with that. I think he is going to be amazing for DC. A lot of people dislike James Gunn. A lot of Snyderverse fans have got their bee in their bonnet, which I think is a Scottish phrase that will go over the head of the vast majority of people who are not from Scotland, about James Gunn. They've got hatred for the man. They want him to fail. They're attacking him on social media, all because he ditched Henry Cavill, a man who I love. I loved Man of Steel. It was one of my favourite superhero movies. I really enjoyed it. I liked the direction they took with Superman. We had enough of Christopher Reeve. Great though he was really bad in parts as well as Clark Kent, Jor-El, Superman. It was really cheesy. The subway is still the safest and most reliable form of transport. Stop, don't do it. The people, there was bad moments under Christopher Reeve. Henry Cavill went darker under the tutelage of Zack Snyder. I really enjoyed it. But you have to move on. He's in his 40s now. You need a younger Superman to drive a new era forward into the next decade and beyond, potentially. So I'm not going to attack James Gunn. I'm not going to have a hard-on for James Gunn because he's making some unpopular decisions. When you are the head of an organisation like DC and you're trying to world build and compete with a Goliath in terms of box office in Marvel, you need to make unpopular decisions. This man's been under Kevin Feige, under the Disney umbrella, the machine. He's seen how they operate. He's seen how ruthless you need to be. And that's the first decision he's made. He's making a new Superman movie. He's making a new Batman movie. He's fucking released a new slate going forward into the next 5-6 years. He will be good for DC. DC need a unified vision. They need stability at the helm in terms of the executive, in terms of a creative force. I believe James Gunn will be fantastic. Should Marvel be worried about James Gunn though? I would suggest no, they shouldn't. I think Marvel should be worried about Marvel, because Marvel are really not anywhere near the gold standard they set 6-7 years ago with the MCU moving into the two Avengers movies in Endgame and Infinity War Endgame, because that's the right order. They've not been at that level since Tony Stark left for pastures new, since Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., also Steve Rogers, I'll just swap the two about because they're intrinsic to each other. Since they have left, it has been watered down, it's felt hollow, there is something missing and they need to address it. Marvel should be worried about Marvel. Kevin Feige, Bob Iger need to get together, and I think they've done it already, and get their shit together and save Marvel, because Marvel is fucking in danger of spiralling if they don't. They've got a great actor in Jonathan Majors as the big bad moving forward. This guy, it's his time. He's a likeable guy. I watched him with Paul Rudd, Lad Bible. Love the guy. Great persona. Brilliant actor. Dedicated. With them, they have got something to work around. Make magic happen. Don't worry about DC. As I said about DC 6 years ago, don't worry about Marvel. Make the most of what you have. They are both institutions. They are both brilliant in their own right. They have amazing characters at their sort of fingertips. DC have some of the best villainous characters the world has ever seen in terms of comic books. They have some of the best heroic characters: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash. I'll even give Nightwing a mention. They've got some of the greatest heroic characters that have been in sort of novel form, graphic novel form, for 50, 60 odd years, 70 odd years, they can make something special happen. They're tonally different to Marvel too, so they shouldn't be worried. In short, I said it was going to be a short and sweet topic, and it is. Mark Ruffalo's right. He is going to be good for DC, but he's wrong in that if he's saying, I don't think he even does say it at any point. He does. Marvel should be sweating. They shouldn't. They should be worrying about themselves, focusing on themselves, doing their own thing, and then we can have two amazing companies producing brilliant content. I'm going to go into a video game analogy to end it. EA Sports and the sort of 2K franchise, FIFA, Madden, NBA, PES, Pro Evolution back in the day. When you have one company dominating and producing stuff, it's great at first, and then inevitably it waters down because there's no competition. They don't have to worry about making the same standard and bettering themselves year in, year out. When you have competition, everything levels up, or it should, and they both get better. They push each other on. So hopefully that's what we're going to get. Hopefully James Gunn will get DC's act together, make amazing movies, and Marvel will respond and like, and we'll get a fucking era of brilliant filmmaking. Incidentally, I was going to go back and speak about that briefly because there was news, not that, fuck's sake, there was news floating around about Marvel potentially getting their hands on the rights to Hulk, which of course Mark Ruffalo played, and still plays, I believe. There was rumours that they were, in their deal to sell Hulu, going to sort of acquire the rights to Hulk. And I don't know what my thoughts are on that. I think if that was 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I would have been much happier. Mark Ruffalo would have still had scope to tell a story. But of course, with that iteration of the character, they've already told his backstory over the course of 3 movies, Ragnarok, Infinity War and Endgame. We got the story of Thor and Ragnarok, of Hulk and Ragnarok. We got the story of Bruce Banner and Infinity War. And then we got the combined sort of 2 pairing, Smart Hulk and Endgame. They have done it intelligently over 3 different movies. They've got round it, circumvented the issue of rights and holding it, and not being able to make a sort of origins independent story with Hulk already with this iteration. So I don't know if there's scope to continue with Mark Ruffalo's version with them acquiring the rights and doing something over the next 5, 6, 7 years. I think we've seen that. But of course, they're not thinking about 5, 6, 7 years. They'll be thinking about the next 10, 15, 20 years. If they have the rights, they can reboot everything. And they own the rights to the X-Men, they own the rights to all these different IPs now. They're just slowly but surely bringing everything back in-house after a disastrous 90s, I think it was, when they had to sell things off to keep in existence. The outlier being Spider-Man, but they seem to have a nice rosy deal with Sony just now, so maybe they're thinking long-term here. They're going to reboot, and we'll finally get proper Civil War storytelling. We'll probably get X-Men versus Marvel, or the Avengers storytelling happening. They're thinking long term, and you've got to respect that. That would be good. In short, I'm moving on though. This is going to be an incredibly short topic, and truth be told, I don't even know why I put this in here. I'm a huge fan of Dead by Daylight. I play it on the nightly. I'm very fucking good at it. So much so that I do break people's souls, not just their minds, and to quote Bane from The Dark Knight, or Dark Knight Rises. I wonder what would break first, your mind or your body? I break both. I play Survivor on it. I fucking love this game. It's just epic. There's something about it. It should be samey. It should get boring very quickly. But there's just something about the sort of trial concept. You go in, it's a new vibe every time. You don't know who the fuck you're playing with half the time if you're playing solo queue. Different kills come with different vibes. And you can just wind them up, and it's a brilliant toxic experience. I fucking love it. I live and breathe this game. And of course, the concept of Dead by Daylight Behaviour, who are the publishers, the developers of this game, is they introduce different chapters every couple of months, 3 months. I think it's maybe quarterly. I think that's the way it works. New kills, new survivors, and there has been one released today, which I have not yet had a chance to get into because I've been working all day and looking after my dog after work, and now I'm doing this. But I will be playing this later after this, and I am looking forward to it, man. I do enjoy the new Survivors dropping as someone who plays Survivor, because I look at it as an opportunity to spend even more fucking money unnecessarily on virtual avatars that make no fucking difference to the experience of the game whatsoever, but they always reel me in because I'm a fool. and I'll see a nice outfit or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I need to buy it. Boom. Before you know it, you're £15-20 deep for a character. I have spent fucking insane amounts of money on this game. Just outfitting characters that don't exist in a video game. And my mind goes to Jeremy, or whatever the fuck his name is. Jeremy Fragrance. He's a loon ball. He's a nutbar. But he came away with a brilliant quote at one point about realising that you're fucking living life wrong by throwing money into things like this, losing yourself into video games. That comes to my mind often, but I'm just going to completely ignore that advice and fucking probably buy one of these at least. It's a new update, it's a new chapter, and yeah, they've released a new killer. It's tools of Torment, I think it's drones and stuff like that being used. And again, just wanted to discuss it briefly, and it will be brief, just purely because of the evolution of this game. It's great to see how this game's evolved over the last 4 or 5 years. I used to watch this initially, favourite streamers, the likes of Brian Lemmy Lemon, comedian, lots of other ones, Oak Starver, brilliant people who played this game and who are fucking really good at it. And just watching the way the game's evolved, the mechanics have evolved, the killers have evolved, the different kinds of killers, iconic ones like Michael Myers who were in it. Not long after the release, Freddy Krueger, Demogorgon from Stranger Things, iconic characters coming in. Obviously, the one from The Ring, I blank on her name. And then just the interesting sort of generic killers that they create themselves, the way they have changed the way the game is played, the night characters like that coming in, and the way it just ups the ante in terms of a cat and mouse game that survivors play with killers in this game on a nightly, on a weekly, on a monthly, on a fucking yearly. They're always changing things, it's always evolving, and I do appreciate it tremendously because a lot of video games will come and go, they will release, the developers will get bored, they'll move off to pastures new and do something different, but there is a real dedication and they get it tight. Behaviour get hammered by the players, the player base. Killers and the survivors, they fucking hate each other, they're warring online, they're warring on Reddit, they're warring on Twitter, they're warring on the forums. There's real toxicity, they hate each other. And behaviour's a sort of common pinata, they get battered from both ends. And it's a shame because they actually do, they're stuck with this game and they're making it better and better and better. Sometimes it'll hit speed bumps and it will be a bit bad. But in the main they're just evolving this game and it's just great to see it graphically evolve in terms of the mechanics evolve. And a part of it is these sort of things here where you get the chapters coming out. It just adds freshness. As you can see, I think it's twins. You've got this killer here, you've got fucking drones. I don't know how that's going to play out. I'll find out in about 25-30 minutes or maybe an hour when I go in this game. And I'm sure every fucking single game will be running this killer. And I'll get bored very quickly of these fucking drones. Very, very quickly indeed. But I just thought I'd touch upon it. I mean, I'm not going to go through the full fucking patch notes. I'd be here all night and that'd be boring as hell. But needless to say, whole new sort of array of perks will come out, and I'm sure someone like Oak Starver or even your other guy, whose name I'm blanking on, who I watch all the time, they know what they're fucking talking about with this. They'll do a far better breakdown on perks than I could ever hope to do. But just looking at it from a sort of brief, superficial level, there's some interesting stuff getting done here with generators that gives you little boosts. So yeah, I just thought I'd touch upon this, man. We like to tick off the video game part of this sort of stream, show, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I thought I'd add it in here, and as you can see, they add and they change things along the way. There's visual updates for Harry Core, I've not actually got her. But it's just, I love the fact they're always updating it. They're adding hair, they're adding and changing the eyes and the looks. And obviously they're changing perks, and one of the things that certainly had to be changed was this fucking perk here, Eruption. Anyone who has played this game will know it's an utter fucking bane on any survivor playing. Generator explodes every time a survivor gets downed or hooked. Fucking nightmare. So they've made changes to that. That in itself has created civil war amongst the player base. So yeah, all in all, I just thought I'd touch upon it. I says I didn't know why I was going to put it in or why I'd put it in, because realistically, as I get closer to speaking about it, I realise very quickly there's not much to actually fucking speak about, other than me just gibbering inane shite about how I love Dead by Daylight, how I'm loving the gradual evolution of a game, introduction of new characters, new sort of aesthetics, new mechanics, new perks, the way they're just slowly changing it, evolving it, and how that's almost unique in the video game sort of world. Because off the top of my head, I can't think of many other games that do this kind of thing, where you have got this gradual. I mean, maybe the open world RPGs will add content, but you have to pay for that content. Or I think you have to fucking pay for this as well. Don't get me wrong, you do. But you still get to interact with it. Even if you're a survivor, you get to interact with the new killers without having to fucking pay anything. Whereas in those other games, I presume you'd have to opt in, and there's servers dedicated to it. So it's kind of unique. And I love the game so much, I just thought I'd fucking speak about it. But I'm going to move on. I'm going to end the show on this note. I'm going to have to manually drag OBS over again and change the topic, because my Stream Deck is an utter fucker. I'm going to end the show on a little bit of music news. Dave Grohl, the nicest man in rock. I seen this. It's not technically music news, it's technically charity news, and it's charity news with some music icons in there. Well, one music icon. Some people would say Dave Grohl's not a music icon, and they can go and fuck themselves, because he is. He's been in two of the greatest bands of the last 30 years. And yeah, he's been out and just shown us what a great individual he is. Anyone that knows Dave will know this is already pretty obvious. I don't know why Currys are trying to sell me iPads. I've already fucking got one. I've got that iPad. I've got that pencil. Why the fuck would I want another one? Get your shit together, Currys. Target the fucking adverts a bit better. Realise that I bought it off of use. You should know. Stop trying to sell me something I've already got, fuckers. Anyone that already knows Dave Grohl will know just how nice of a guy he is, just how down to earth and cool he is. You've seen him on the likes of Hot Ones, you've seen him in and around the joints, sort of touring, doing interviews. He's a top class man, a guy that I'd love to go out on a fucking night out with and just get drunk to the point where I can't walk, because I feel like he'd be just fucking amazing to go out for a drink with. And the guy's like double my, he's not double my age, but he's like fucking at least 20 years older than me, I want to say. At least, actually, you know, I'd actually have to search it up, and I'm going to search it up. When was Dave Grohl born? Yeah, he's 20 years older than me. He's exactly 20 years older than me, so I'd love to go out on a fucking drink with this guy. That speaks volumes for how cool a cat he is. I just said cat. I'm not going to apologise for it. But yeah, he's been out feeding the homeless again, apparently. He's did this before. In Los Angeles it is. It's for a charity. It's the Hope of the Valleys barbecue. It was last month. Helped out at the Hope of the Valleys. He did this. This was the last time he did it. He cooked for 450 people over an 18-hour period. This was a result of major snowstorms that were about to hit LA. And as you can see here now, Feed the Streets LA has today, March 6th, that was yesterday, as I sit here, announced that Grohl will help the organisation. Now, he has helped the organisation because I've seen it in another article that he has indeed been out cooking 16 hours straight, I believe. Something fucking crazy like that. And look, just for a bit of context, if you don't know anything about Dave Grohl, this guy's a wonder behind the barbecue. It's like one of his many talents. Not only is he the greatest fucking drummer on the earth, and he is the greatest drummer on the earth, can play guitar brilliantly, great voice, same range as Paul McCartney. He has to scream to get to Mac's high notes, but he has technically got the same range as Paul McCartney. Great songwriter, fucking amazing human being, but he is incredible behind the barbecue, cooking a whole variety of meats. So he's lent that skill set to helping out those who have none, to quote Shmee Skywalker. The homeless in LA, and by all accounts, a huge fucking problem in LA, the sort of homeless issue. Presume people going there to try and become actors and hit the big time, and also it's not working out, they're falling into drug usage and stuff like that. They've got nothing. These people have got fucking nothing. It's a big problem. And yeah, he says he would help for them to hit their 3,500 meals a month target by cooking for the homeless in the Yucca and Skid Row areas of the Californian city. As you can see there, you can see just how fucking good he is on a barbecue. I mean, that just looks sublime. As someone who dabbled with sort of Texan rubs on steaks and on briskets on a barbecue, even when it was freezing, ball-shrinkingly cold in Glasgow, I've got a real appreciation for anyone who can make magic happen on a grill, and this guy certainly can make magic happen. You can see here 2023 has been off to a rocky start with the losses on 5th Street. We've been trying to figure out ways to keep up with our activations and continue to about 3,500 meals a month It's not an easy task, especially when several communities experiencing food insecurity rely on us for a decent meal 5 times a week. On one of those wet and cold rainy days, fucking LA, shut up, it's not wet or cold. Come to Glasgow. It's -6 just now. -6, -4. Fucking freezing here. I went out and walked my dog, my hand felt like it was going to fall off. It's bitter. LA does not know cold, rainy days. Come to the west of Scotland, bitch. But what I digress. It's neither here nor there. I'm nitpicking. It's about the positive story. As you can see here, I wanted to help out. We threw him into an upcoming activation. He spent 18 hours straight smoking brisket, ribs and pork with a cooking crew. They stayed up all night and into the sunrise. The next day, Walsh and his team, exhausted and sleep deprived, packed up the food and drove it to MacArthur Park. All they had to do was drop it off and leave. However, they decided to stay and work the line, serve the barbecue with their crew until everyone at the park was fed. If that ain't a hero, we don't know what the fuck is. Stay tuned, D&G will be back on the box to serve UKIT and Skid Row soon. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Dave fucking Grohl, take a bow. My man, what a guy. This is why I love Dave, this is why I love the Foo Fighters. And this is why I loved the late great Taylor Hawkins. Yes, they wow thousands of people annually with their shows, and I've been to see them live and it was a fucking privilege and a pleasure to watch them do their thing. But off the fucking stage, they're just brilliant human beings, man. And Dave is the sort of front man, and nothing typifies it more than this. This guy's got everything. He's loaded. He's got kids, he's got a wife. He's living. He could just live the high life in his house. Doesn't have to do shit like this. He stepped away, he's worked for 16 fucking hours unpaid to help people out. Massive fucking respect to this guy. Massive respect to this guy. And anyone that likes to talk shit, the likes of... I'm not going to name names, but there has been people try to talk shit about Dave over the years. Just go and do something like this and then you can prove you're the better person, because as of now, he is the better person. This guy is just fucking doing God's work. So, God bless the man. I thought I'd speak about it. Love the bold Dave. And I'm going to round it up on that note. What's your thoughts on the topics I've touched upon? What do you make about John Wick? 4 early reviews coming out, reactions coming out, praising it, suggesting that it's one of the best action movies in the history of Hollywood. Saying that it is a sort of a... Oh God, I can't remember what the phrase was from Scott Mendelsohn now, but he praised it very, very highly. I'm going to go and actually read that because it was a thing of beauty. It's a towering artistic achievement. What's your thoughts on those early reactions? Has it made you even more pumped? Were you pumped anyway? You see John Wick Chapter 4? Are you completely ambivalent towards the concept of another John Wick movie hitting the theatres? Share your thoughts down below in the comment section about that if you've got anything to say. What's your thoughts on Mark Ruffalo coming out and sort of trying to put the fear up Kevin Feige and the creative team over at Marvel by suggesting they should be worried about James Gunn's impending DCU kicking into gear, releasing movies, releasing TV shows, perhaps showing them up? Should they be worried, Marvel, about DC, about James Gunn, or do you agree with me that they should just completely blank out all that external noise, focus on themselves, let James Gunn focus on himself and the DCU, and both can provide us with brilliant superhero comic book content? Share your thoughts if you have anything to say down below about that, about Dead by Daylight. Do you play Dead by Daylight? What's your thoughts on the new chapter? Have you played this killer yet? I haven't, I'm about to. And on Dave Grohl helping out the fucking homeless in LA. If you've got anything to say about that, anything at all, the comment section is the place to put it. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do the same thing over on Twitch. Follow button, notifications button over there to see the exact same fucking content on a different platform though, if that floats your boat. All that's left to be said though is until the next time I am done, thank you for watching, and bye bye.